Hello, everyone. How are you all going? I'm just going to wait for a little while some people come on. We're a little bit late. We were just having a bit of a chat in the in the broadcast studio, as you do, right? So as we just wait for people to come on, it is 7 p.m. here in New Zealand. And I know there'll be people jumping on from all around the world. So I'll just wait for a couple of seconds. But before, as we're waiting, I'm just going to go through my usual, as you that are used to coming on live and hearing some of our lives. We go live using StreamYard, okay? So if you have not clicked on the link of streamyard.com/Facebook before, that's in our comments, then please do that, because it gives permission for StreamYard to see your comment, and hence I'll be able to see your comment or your questions if you have any questions as we go through our live this evening. So pop over into the comments, and in there is a link, streamyard.com/Facebook. Now, if you have done it before, you do not have to do it again, okay? One time only. You don't have to do it every time you come onto a live, okay? So we've got a really special guest here tonight, all the way from Ireland. Andy Mckelvey is joining us, and he is part of the MVP studio team in Ireland. And he has his finger on the pulse for what's happening in Ireland. It's really quite interesting of, during these times, what is happening in Ireland in the IT software market. So we thought it was really good to be able to bring him on, have a bit of discussion around that, and sharing with everyone, especially if you're in Ireland, as what is happening over there right now in the IT software market. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Andy on. Hello, Andy. How are you?
Morning, Carla. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you. You can hear us all clearly?
Perfectly. Yeah, perfect.
Wonderful. So let's kick it off, Andy. I've just told everyone that you are part of MVP Studio over in Ireland. Tell us a little bit of a backstory on what you've done before, where you've come from, etc.
Yeah, so I started my career over in London. Obviously, people who are listening won't recognise this as a Galway accent, but I started my career in a small software house in London. I was fortunate enough to have a good break there in what was a growing software house. Started as QA, and from there progressed on. Went into a lot of legal side of software development, but more into a development role, which I was doing there for over 20 years now. I moved back to Ireland about 14 years ago. My family being Irish, my mother being from Galway anyway, so we moved back to here, and that was an interesting time, because that was just before the recession, which is where part of the story of where software development and the IT industry is at the moment. It was a good the IT industry is doing very well. I moved into a very small software house in Galway, and since then just progressed, moved more into legal again for a time. Again, a lot of full stack development. So yeah, over the course of the 20 years, mainly development, but always in software houses.
Right. Okay. And so let's get on to what we were discussing before we came on live. Tell us what's happening in Ireland's IT software market. I know there's a lot of things like enterprise kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about what's happening there. I know there's a lot of BI stuff happening. There's a lot of full stack software developers that are needed as well. So just tell us give us a little bit of insight about what's happening over there.
Yeah, like I mentioned there, when we went into the recession there, 12 years ago or 10 years ago, the Irish economy decided to shift. Rather than being manufacturing, construction kind of industry, they went for a more intelligence kind of industry. So we saw the rise of a lot of software houses and globals in and around Dublin, but that seemed to have spread now. There's a huge spread here in Galway. There's a huge amount of global software enterprises, and I know the same can be said down for Cork and but there's that need now for software developers and good software developers. People who have a grasp of not just websites and things like that, but the grasp of data. We're in a data revolution, which is where we have our BIs and we have our data analysts, but we also need to have good developers to be able to represent that data in a way that people can visualize it. So it's been an interesting journey for Ireland, and I think one that's probably paid off for them, because like we're saying, with the Docklands area in Dublin, we've got the eBays, we've got the Googles, we've got the Facebooks. These companies don't invest in the country unless they've got skill sets there.
Yes. So how long ago did this all start taking off?
It was really around the recession time. They realised that they had too much of one particular skill set, and they needed to shift the paradigm over to something else. And that gradual movement happened. Ireland has quite the tax incentive as well for these big corporates. So, from that point of view, it makes sense to them. But like I was saying, with companies like that, unless they can get resource and skills, a skills base, they don't move. So like I was saying, Galway now as well. Galway, we've seen a huge rise of large companies, SAP, Vio, huge companies, huge globals, and they're looking for those type of developers. Developers who can work on the front end. They're maybe not designers, but they know web technology. But they can also interpret data, because otherwise you're going down the route of taking in a developer who's pure database. But it's interesting. We're also seeing, the upsurge of smaller businesses as well. Off air, I was mentioned to you there about the record number of small applications for the online trading voucher. So that was published over the weekend there. 8,500 companies applied for trading vouchers. So trading vouchers allow you a small amount of money, 2,500, to try and get your company online. But I think it shows the times we're in at the moment, where people are looking for different avenues. People are being more enterprising with, unfortunately, there's been a lot of redundancies and people have been laid off, but those people are taking the opportunity to maybe shift, their knowledge set and being the domain experts. Domain experts are great, but they're not developers.
Yeah, I was saying, like, business, the whole business, I suppose, environment has changed, especially this year. I mean, it has slowly been changing over the last, 5 years anyway. With a lot of businesses, going online as well as having their normal shops or shop fronts, if you want to call it that. And you were sharing that over in Ireland, they're giving away like these grants and everything. So share a bit more about that. What else is happening along those kind of fronts and what you see happening?
Yeah, one of the things actually which is very kind of enterprising from the Irish side, the local enterprise boards and Enterprise Ireland also try and help these ideas, kind of nurture these ideas. So they've also, there's a number of grants you can get. The one we mentioned there, the 2,500 to try and get your company online. That's they were so popular they brought a second one out. So effectively, you can spend €5,000 and try and get your company in it. Obviously, it's not going to get you everything, but it's going to get you a presence. It will definitely get you a website anyway. But then obviously, when you shift into that area, you then need someone to support and develop and maintain and do all the other good things that come with building your own online presence. They also do other things like recruiting. So Enterprise Ireland, with the local offices, would look at subsidising high value initiatives, employment grants, and things like that. So there's a lot of positives in that space.
That is really, really positive. And so full stack developers would be very in demand. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah. Now, the research I've looked into, there's a lot of .NET framework kind of enterprises, but also a lot of Java based. You're seeing a big shift now with JavaScript frameworks, that type of stuff. So a good working knowledge. I mean, that's the thing. You don't need to be a .NET developer. Because you can apply that if you have a good principle of programming languages, you can apply that to other programming languages. It's very easy. So yeah, that type of developer, because if you're a small enterprise or a medium enterprise, like we're saying, you may not need a data analyst expert. Maybe the medium to large might, because they've more money to actually get the experts in. But if you're trying to get this single idea off the ground, it makes more sense to employ a full stack developer. Yeah.
And obviously, when you've got that data, eventually you'll look at something, a BI data analyst person to be able to look at that data and make some well-informed business decisions on your business as you grow in that space. So okay, that's really, really, really interesting on what's happening over there. Employment-wise, what's happening employment-wise over in Ireland, Andy? As far as I know, you said they had employment grants or something, or recruitment grants or something. But what's the market looking like recruitment-wise? Jobs, etc., for developers, BI, data analysts, etc.
Yeah, the job market seems very healthy. Again, companies are realizing the importance of being able to shift online. It's important to actually have a footstep. The big companies, obviously, they're not going to be as affected as the smaller companies, but the smaller companies, the medium companies, are realizing that if they haven't got something online, they have to shift. There's no doubt that there has to be that movement of, if not going online, of automation. That's unfortunately another thing that happens during these types of times, where people realize that maybe the workforce, if they can't go into the office, what's the point in having an office? Maybe we can automate certain aspects of our business. So for technology, I think Ireland seems to be doing very well again. It doesn't seem to be an industry too heavy hit by what's going on.
Yeah. And again, just to add to that, with going online and maybe going away from the normal business, the old model business, you're going to be, working with people remotely. People will be working from home remotely, and you'll get them to do stuff, etc. So it's a totally different. It's kind of like a mind shift for the business owner, and also the developers, etc. That are used to maybe going into an office, that now are having to work from a space at home, to be able to do what they have to do.
Yeah, it's completely. It's weird. Like, I'm working with people now all around the world, and I haven't got a clue what they look like in person. And yet this is the new norm.
It's a new norm. Wow. So can I ask, where else are you, like, working with other people? What kind of
London?
Yeah.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Obviously, New Zealand, Australia.
Yeah.
So this is your 7 o'clock, and this is my 8 o'clock. A different contrast.
In the morning, and we're evening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're coming to the end, and I'm starting.
It is. It becomes normal. It's a paradigm shift. It's a mind shift. But once you've settled into it, let's put it that way, it's just like normal. And this year has really brought that to the forefront with everything that's happened globally. With everything. So Yes, so I know that you've said that you had someone that joined a small company, you said, that wasn't a full stack developer, but now is
Yeah,
share
that's
a bit
right.
about
Yeah.
that. Is this something that would normally happen, or is it just a kind of thing that you've noticed, or?
No, I'm not sure, to be honest, because I think it was quite a gamble by the business owner.
Right, yeah.
But it was also, he took opinion from other people, which was good. People, with experience. And like we're saying, this is where if you have a strong business domain expert with someone who has technology, it can make a nice marriage. It was a guy straight out of college. So I think he had a computer science degree, or one of the very general degrees. I'm saying one of the very, I have a computer science degree, and it's one of those things where you walk out and you've done your bit of data, you've done your bit of networking, you've done your bit of development, and now you're in the big wide world. What do you want to be? And we spoke to a guy who's very, very educated, very intelligent guy. Not on the interview, but we threw a problem over to him to try and analyze the problem. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. We said we gave him one day to have a look at a problem and to give us a solution. And the reason being, like I personally, I've sat in those interviews where you've got a developer and he'll present a problem to you, and you'll sit in an interview and you'll be asked, "How do you do that? How do you fix that problem?" And you're in interview, so you're in an interview situation, and you're thinking, "You've just given me a question." It's crazy stuff. Nerves built on top of everything else. You're thinking, I've prepared myself for what do you want to be in 5 years' time, not go and fix this method and give me stuff. So we said, the reality is he'd be given time, he'd use Google, he'd go and research the question, and he answered the question in a way that we were happy with. It was good. And he came into the company, and he came in as a Java developer. That's what a lot of colleges, I know, going back to, I hope things have changed since, but a lot of colleges would have been very anti-Microsoft back in my day. It would have been everything apart from Microsoft, because they were the corporate baddie. So he came in with, showing my age now. He came in with a good foundation of knowledge, but we were asking him to shift into a Microsoft stack. And 3 weeks, literally 3 weeks of development, you could see working with other people in a development environment, how good his skills had developed, how strong his skills, the questions he was asking, and even his mindset. I was talking to him Friday evening after he'd had a tough day. He was working on a part of the product. So he's shifting what's an old Python product into the .NET framework now. So I was like, so he's got a lot to learn there. And Friday he was like, my head's just frazzled, because, and this is a good way, because he's now taking his skills and putting some shape on them, and that's 3 weeks. So it's good. It's good to see that take shape. And obviously he's got employment. He's getting a good salary. So there's a lot of positives on that one.
Yeah. Andy, would you have any kind of obviously you were sitting in on that interview. Would you got any tips for people, that are looking, they're applying for jobs at the moment in Ireland? Have you got any tips for them? You know the market, what's happening. There's a lot of things happening, actually. Any tips for people?
Yeah, I think now, obviously I'm going on the back of my own experience, and I've had a very fortunate and lucky career having met people. I wasn't one of those people who came out and didn't quite know what I was doing. I had opportunity conversations with people and got job opportunities that way. And I'd say now that there's a strong skill set in Ireland, of a well-educated developers or business analysts or anything like that. And what we'll probably see on the back of this is if the people can't get a job, they'll go and get further education. So we might see a lot more, masters qualified students coming out. But the experience side of things, from my point of view, is very, very strong. Like if you can get any real life experience I'm not talking about real life experience asking, someone Joe Blogs down the road who's a plumber to do your website, because no one, in my opinion, no one, not like the old days, I say the old days, but where someone would say, can you show me your portfolio? I haven't been asked that question for a long time. It's more, what projects have you worked on, and how did you work on them? So to be able to engage with the team, to be able to engage in real projects, be it you get paid for it, you don't get paid for it. It's something to put on your CV, and it will give you that experience with other developers, and obviously you're building up your contact base as well. I think that's probably one of the most important things there.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why our, at Industry Connect and our partnering company, MVP Studio with you guys, that's why our whole overall incubation process works so well, because it's the upskilling, making sure they've got the right skill set that the market needs. And then with MVP Studio, you have a learning enhanced internship, which is fully mentored. So that is it's a massive plus, because then they have a reference. They're actually working on real projects, and in a team you have real things you have to solve, not like made up stuff. It's a real stuff. So you've got something to bring to the table when you go in there to an interview. When they ask that question, what projects have you worked on, then you've got something to talk about, which is really, really important. And that's what, you see there's a lot of people that are businesses over in Ireland, which is small to medium size. They want to know, what have you worked on? Not just theoretically, not just in knowledge, but practically, so that they know that you're able to work in a team. They know how you work in a team, how you bring something to life, basically, a website or whatever. And it's really, really important to them. They want to see if you can hit the ground running, basically.
Yeah. I think one of the things as well, you just mentioned there, and something I was talking about the technical, but you're 100% in the soft skills, the how you integrate, how you work with your team members, how you take instruction, because at the end of the day, when you're working with the team on important projects, you need to know that someone's got your back, and you only get that experience through working with the team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh wow, anything else to add, Andy, that's happening over there in Ireland?
I can't think of any. Like I was saying to you, that when I was putting this all down on paper, the ramblings of a madman, and it's good. It seems like a very strong and I think the most important thing is, if you do get these opportunities, to definitely take them. I think that's one of the most important things I take out of it. There are a lot of great companies in Ireland, and it is I've not had bad experience working in any of the environments. Very forward-thinking people, very intelligent people, and it's great. But I think it's that old adage where without the experience, how do you get the job? Blah blah blah. Well, don't be too humble to take any level of experience, because it all educates you. So.
Yes, and it's something to add to your CV. It's something that, in the first instance, when you apply for a job, it's something that'll stick out. There's always that, it's the initial touch point, how you're going to grab them. If you've got something to talk about on your CV in a written form, then you'll be able to go in depth in a face-to-face interview. So no, I totally understand where you're coming from. And it's good that over in Ireland, you've got all those big companies far out.
Yeah, the Docklands area is still growing, yeah. And like I was saying, Galway's been very kind of forward thinking for a long time. We've got some unbelievable software houses in Galway. Limerick seems to be an up and coming one, and then you're going down to Cork. So you're getting all these great tech hubs all around the place, you know, and Ireland's a very, very small country as well, which is the beauty of it. Plus, we're in a pandemic, so no one's really traveling too much anyway. So it makes the job market bigger if you can remote work.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Think outside the box, eh? It does. Exactly. Oh, well, thank you so much, Andy. I don't think we've got any questions. I just had a look. There's no questions for us. So thank you so much for your time and sharing what's going on over there in Ireland. I know we have some incredible people that have joined our programs, our global programs for software development and test analyst and business intelligence data analyst. And I know that they're positioned correctly in an amazing country over there that has a lot of opportunity from what you've said. So thank you so much again for your insight and sharing, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
You have a wonderful evening.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch up with you again next week with another special guest. Have a wonderful evening or morning.
Thanks, fella. Yeah.